Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Hey, welcome back to Daily Dose Radio, your home for fair trade Bible study, promoting the sustainable development of better Bible study using only 100% Bible. Just the pure Word. That's it, folks. We're looking today at verses 25 and 26 in Psalm 136. Daily Dose Radio is your home for 5-minute Bible study 5 days a week, going through the Psalms verse by verse. Today we're looking at 25-26, and let me just read those for you. Who gives bread to all flesh, for his mercy is everlasting. O give thanks to the God of heaven, for his mercy is everlasting. The care of all flesh comes before us today here in this 25th verse. You'll notice that not only is Israel cared for, not only is the church cared for, we saw that in 16 through 21, and the church in 23 and 24, but now we're talking about every flesh, everything, man and beast, fish and bird. It's all being cared for because he says there, who gives bread to all flesh. So I just looked up a couple of places in the Scripture where we have that described, especially in the Psalms, because we've been traveling through the Psalms, and we saw this earlier in Psalm 104. There in Psalm 104, verse 14, he talks about creating grass for the beasts or the cattle. And then in Psalm 147, verse 9, he talks about creating food for the cattle, for the ravens, and for all the beasts of the earth. Also, in Psalm 146, he talks about taking care of and feeding the hungry with bread. In Proverbs chapter 13, he talks about feeding the poor with bread. Then there's this statement in Proverbs chapter 30 that I really like a lot, and I'm sure my church is tired of hearing me say it, but it's just one of those prayers that I can't quite get over. In Proverbs chapter 30 and verse 8, he talks about feeding me with food that is needful or convenient for me. And so this needful food is what I have to have. I don't want prosperity or riches. I don't need that. What I need is the food that God knows I need. So that's my prayer. God, feed me with the food that is needful for me. Feed all of us that way. He is caring for us both on a physical level and on a spiritual level. And so let me just read to you from John Mason Neal. He says, he not only feeds all living things with the physical food which they require, but also gives spiritual food to all mankind without distinction, to Jew and Gentile, noble and serf, bond and free alike. For there is no respect of persons with God. Isn't that beautiful? And of course, he's right. So God, with no respect, he sends rain on the just and the unjust. He feeds us with all the food, the bread that's necessary for us. He cares for us, each one. His mercy is everlasting. And let's not forget now, that is where we want to end up. Always remembering that every good thing that we have here is because of his mercy. And then we have this last statement, oh, give thanks to the God of heaven, for his mercy is everlasting. So we have to go back now to the first 3 verses, because there we have the give thanks. It's the same word, translated the same way. Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. Give thanks to the God of gods. Give thanks to the Lord of lords. And of course, after each one, we have that repeated phrase, for his mercy is everlasting. So the early church is saluting the Lord there in the beginning, and here at the end we have, again, this ending just like the beginning, except now we're talking about the God of heaven. This is the one who made all things. Listen again to John Mason Neal. As the psalm began with the praise of God, it closes in like manner, because he is Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. And it is our bounden duty to praise and thank him for the outset and the close of every good thing. Isn't that beautiful? And this has been a good thing to study this 136th Psalm, and I hope you'll join me next week as we travel on to Psalm 137 on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.